Your brain is a master liar, but your hands, they tell the truth, and they are about to confess a secret you have been trying to hide from the whole world. Right now, look at the empty space before you. To the untrained eye, it is merely a void, but in the cartography of the soul, this circle is an ancient map. Carl Jung, the visionary Swiss psychologist, spent his life studying these forms. He saw the circle, the mandala, as the ultimate symbol of the self. It represents the delicate, often dangerous border between the polished mask you wear for society and the raw, unhealed fragments you lock away in the dark. You see, the things that haunt your subconscious do not stay buried. They demand to be seen. They leak out through your habits, your micro-expressions, and yes, even the way you hold a pen. Therefore, what you see here is not a simple shape. It is a portal. Inside this boundary is your private sanctuary. Outside is the noise and violence of the world. The way you choose to fill this void is not an artistic choice. It is a survival strategy. It reveals the exact architecture of your defense mechanisms. Are you building walls? Are you running away? Or are you drowning? Today we are putting aside the polite, comforting illusions. We are going to perform a deep psychological surgery, stripping away the heavy armor you have carried for far too long, to see what truly lies beneath. I need you to perform an act of the unconscious, right now. Visualize a stark, pristine, white circle set against a background of pitch black paper. A void. A silence waiting to be broken. A space waiting for your invasion. If I were to place a black ink pen in your hand at this very moment and command you to fill that space immediately, without hesitation, in which direction would your hand move? Do not use your left brain. Do not engage your logical faculties. Do not try to create something aesthetically pleasing that your high school art teacher would grade with an A. I want you to choose the motion that your body screams for. Listen to the microscopic twitches in the muscles of your hand. What is the impulse? Option 1. Do you draw vertical lines? Parallel. Rigid, marching perfectly from top to bottom like the iron bars of a prison cell? Option 2. Do you etch horizontal lines, stacking them layer upon layer? Slow, deliberate, covering the void completely and safely like the sedimentary layers of the earth? Option 3. Do you slash diagonal lines? Fast, violent, sharp, leaving jagged, empty white gaps in your wake because the speed of your pen is too furious to catch every pixel. Option 4. Do you sketch a spiral? A coil that erupts from the center and expands outward, or perhaps drills deep inward like a labyrinth with no exit. Look closely at your choice. Do not look away, because the way you chose to fill this void is not a random accident. It is a biological reflex. It is a map. It reveals the precise defense mechanism your nervous system has constructed to weather the crushing pressure of reality. It tells me exactly why your lower back throbs in pain, why you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m. unable to sleep, and why you feel a bone-deep exhaustion even though you haven't done manual labor in years. And before we descend further into this abyss together, if you feel a resonance here, if you feel seen, or if you find a strange solace in this excavation of the psyche, take a fleeting moment to like and subscribe to the channel. Because these symbolic tests are not mere games. They are lanterns designed to illuminate parts of you that logic cannot touch. Subscribing is a pact, a promise that we will not lose each other in the next expedition toward the self. Now, hold that image of your drawing in your mind's eye. Lock it in. We begin the anatomy of the mind. If you chose the vertical lines, marching from top to bottom, unbroken, absolute, you are operating under the archetype of the ruler. Or, to speak the naked truth, you are the controller. Look at the way you draw. To create lines that are perfectly parallel, your hand must be rigid. You must control the compression of the pen. You must hold your breath. You allow no tremors, no deviation. This is exactly how you survive your life. In the eyes of others, you are a monolith. You are solid. You are logical. You are the bedrock. When a crisis strikes, while the world trembles in panic, you are the first to ask, what is the protocol? You hold the keys. You hold the currency. You hold the order. You possess a terrifying capacity to keep the machinery running, even when the sky is falling. That is the beauty of your resilience. But what is the toll of this strength? The question for your shadow is this: why does the act of asking for help feel like a death sentence? You carry the burden of hyper-independence. This is not innate strength. This is a trauma response. Return to the days when you were small. Were you a child forced to grow old before your time? Perhaps you had to parent your own parents? Or perhaps, in the moment you needed salvation, the room was empty? You cried out, and no one came. And in that solitude, your fragile brain forged a devastating conclusion. If I do not do it, it will not be done. Dependency is dangerous. To need is to be weak. Those vertical lines are the bars of a prison you built yourself. You stand tall not to reach the heavens, but to bear the weight of the roof. You are terrified that if you soften for a second, if you sicken, if you rest, the entire architecture of your life will collapse. Carl Jung warned us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your fate is loneliness at the summit. You are lonely not because you are unloved, but because you allow no one to cross your perimeter to share the load. You despise weakness in others because you have forbidden it within yourself. The healing message for you is simple, and it is grounded. You are not Atlas holding up the celestial sphere. You are merely flesh and bone. Try a small experiment. This week, ask someone to do a task you are perfectly capable of doing yourself. Leave the dirty dishes in the sink overnight. Say, I don't know, instead of hunting for a solution. The world will not crumble while you sit down. The stiffest trees are the first to snap in the storm. Only the reed that knows how to bow touches the ground and survives. Practice softening. Allow yourself to lean. It is not failure. It is humanity. If you chose to fill the circle with horizontal lines, stacking, layering, slow, concealing, you carry the energy of the healer. But in the cold light of day, you are the avoider. Your beauty is your stability. Your drawing resembles the stillness of a lake or the ancient layers of the earth. You are the peacemaker. You are hypertuned to the temperature of the room. You know how to cool the fever of anger. You are the one who whispers, "It's okay," just to keep the melody harmonious. You are a sanctuary for others. But look closer at your stroke. It is the act of burying. It is the act of building a wall. You are trying to cover what lies beneath. Your true affliction is not that you are too gentle. It is that you are drowning in repression. Why did you choose the horizontal? Because it is safe. It has no sharp edges. It inflicts no wounds. You are paralyzed by the fear of conflict. You would rather swallow poison. You would rather dissolve your own needs than face the chaos of a confrontation. A naked question for you. Is the peace you preserve a living harmony? Or is it a dead silence? You are accumulating a reservoir of silent resentment. You sacrifice for others, but in the dark of your heart, you keep a ledger. You tally every time you yielded, and you wait for the repayment. And when they do not return the favor, you do not speak. You simply scratch another horizontal line onto the wall within your chest. The root of this often traces back to being the invisible child, or the good child. Perhaps you grew up in a home loud with conflict, and you learned that the only safety lay in becoming a ghost. You learned to walk on eggshells. You learned to read your parents' moods before you dared to feel your own. You believed that to have needs was to be a burden. Carl Jung warned, "I'd rather be whole than good, because the shadow does not vanish. It is merely compressed until it detonates." Your repression will turn against your own biology. The knot in your stomach, the exhaustion that sleep cannot cure. That is the scream of emotions buried alive. My counsel to you, break the surface of the water. Conflict is necessary. The truth is often jagged, but it heals. Practice the word no. Practice expressing your disappointment. Do not make yourself a doormat simply because you fear they will walk away. Those who truly love you will respect your boundaries, and those who leave when you finally defend yourself, they only love the convenience of your silence. Smash through those horizontal bricks. Let the light in. If you chose the diagonal lines, fast, forceful, severing, you bear the archetype of the warrior. But let us call it by its true name. You are the runner. Your energy is torrential. Your strokes are razor sharp, leaving white gaps because your hand moves faster than the ink. You are result-oriented. You are pragmatic. You despise stagnation. You live by the to-do list and the conquest. You are sharp, you adapt, and you optimize. Your beauty is your efficiency. You are the change maker. But why such haste? Look at the drawing. It is not careful. It looks like claw marks. It looks like a desperate attempt to get it over with. The bitter truth is this: you are not running toward a destination. You are running away from yourself. You are suffering from an addiction to busyness. You fear stillness more than you fear death. Because when you stop, when the work ceases, when the deadline fades, when the screen goes dark, you are forced to hear the voices in your head. You are forced to face the void, the loneliness, the ancient wounds that never scabbed over. So you choose to fly like an arrow. You use achievement to fill the hole in your soul. You appraise your worth based on your output. If you are not productive today, you feel like waste, like ash. It is a toxic race you have designed for yourself. Recall the past. Was love something you had to earn? Were you only praised when you brought home the trophy? Were you only seen when you were useful and when you failed? Or when you were simply a child? Were you invisible? You learned a cruel lesson. I only have value when I win. I am only lovable when I am a tool. Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." You are obsessed with conquering the outer world, scaling mountain after mountain, but you are never satiated. You reach the peak, you feel the high for 5 minutes, and then the hollowness returns, and you sprint toward the next peak. It is the dopamine treadmill. The antidote for you is a bitter medicine. Intentional uselessness. Practice sitting still. Practice doing things that generate no money, no fame, no result. Watch the rain fall. Walk without a destination or a device. Allow yourself to be bored. When the boredom hits, do not reach for the phone. Observe it. That is the moment you begin to reconnect with the soul you left behind. You are worthy of love even when you are doing absolutely nothing. Your value is in your presence, not your performance. Lay down your weapons. The war is over. If you chose the spiral, coiling, repeating, you carry the archetype of the magician. But in the language of behavioral psychology, you are the stuck. Your beauty lies in your depth. You do not see the world in straight lines. You see connections. You see hidden meanings. You possess an inner life so rich that the outside world feels shallow. You are sensitive, creative, a philosopher at heart. But what is the dark side of the labyrinth? You cannot find the exit. Why do you draw the spiral? Because you are frozen by analysis paralysis. You overthink. You dissect a problem, a sentence, a fleeting glance, until it disintegrates into dust. The spiral represents compulsive repetition. You circle around an old pain, you torment yourself with the past, or you catastrophize the future. You live in your head far more than you live in reality. You construct perfect scenarios in the theater of your mind, but you are terrified to act. You fear that reality will shatter your fantasy. You are the dreamer standing on the edge of life, watching the river flow but refusing to jump in. Perhaps you were a lonely child, an old soul, a poor Eternus trapped in thought. You felt alienated from your peers. The outer world was too loud, too abrasive for your nervous system. So you retreated into the cocoon of imagination. You created a realm where you were safe, where you were God. But slowly, the cocoon became a cage. You have disconnected from your physical vessel. Jung spoke of the inekia, the journey into the underworld. He said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. And the pain you need right now is the pain of reality. You need grounding." Stop trying to solve your problems with thinking, because thinking is the problem. Solve it with physical action. When your mind begins to spin, stand up. Wash the dishes, touch the soil, lift heavy weights, scream. Do anything to drag your consciousness back into your body. Do not wait for perfection. Do it wrong. Do it badly. A clumsy drawing on paper is worth infinitely more than a masterpiece that only exists in your head. Step out of the mental maze. Life is happening out here, right now, not in your mind. Participate in it. Look at the stroke in your mind one last time. Whether you are the controller with your vertical bars, the concealer with your horizontal layers, the runner with your jagged slashes, or the lost soul in the spiral. Remember this, none of these lines are wrong. They are survival strategies. They are the sentinels that have guarded the wounded child within you for all these years. Because of them, you survived. But the strategies that kept you alive in the past are now the very things preventing you from living in the present. It is time to thank those sentinels and give them permission to rest. It is time to learn new ways to fill the void, ways that are softer, ways that are truer, ways that are brave. If this test has touched a tender nerve, if you saw your own reflection in this stark analysis, leave a symbol of your line in the comments below, a pillar for the vertical, a river for the horizontal, a lightning bolt for the diagonal, or a galaxy for the spiral. Name it. When you name the shadow, it ceases to control you from the dark. Thank you for your courage to face yourself. I wish you a sleep without dreams, and a tomorrow fully awake.